Gold Thread Studios. Ganja Bush. Episode 2, Officer Brown Come Back. By 7 o'clock the following morning, Mass Clifton Campbell has accomplished something remarkable. He has built a fence. Not a good fence. Not even a particularly convincing fence. But technically, a fence. Old zinc. Chicken wire. 2 pieces of discarded lumber. 3 bamboo posts. And 1 section that appears to be held together entirely by electrical cord and prayer. Clifton stands in front of his creation with both hands on his waist. He nods proudly. See de. Winston stands on the other side. The goat looks at the fence. Then at Clifton. Then at the fence again. Clifton points at him. Don't even think about it. Winston chews. You see yesterday? Yesterday was your last day up here. Winston takes 1 step toward the fence. Clifton picks up a stick. Try it. Winston stops. For several seconds, man and goat stare at each other across the Jamaican hillside. Then Winston turns and walks away. Clifton smiles. Exactly. He throws the stick down. Respect authority. Winston disappears around the corner. Clifton doesn't know it yet, but Winston is not surrendering. Winston is inspecting the perimeter. The problem with Kemar. Clifton's second problem is 26 years old and owns a smartphone. His name is Kemar. Kemar has never successfully kept a secret in his entire life. If you tell Kemar something at 8 o'clock, by 8:15, 3 people know. By 9, Miss Cynthia knows. By 10, somebody in Montego Bay has heard a slightly altered version. And by lunchtime, the story has somehow reached Canada. Yesterday, Kemar discovered Clifton's secret field. Clifton discovers that Kemar knows at exactly 7:14 this morning. Because Kemar arrives carrying a hoe. Clifton stares at him. What are you doing up here? Kemar smiles. Come help. With what? Farming. Clifton narrows his eyes. You? Yeah. You don't even weed your own yard. Kemar shrugs. People change. Since when? Last night. Clifton folds his arms. Kemar looks innocently toward the hillside. Uncle. Me never know dat ya interested in agriculture so. Clifton's eyes narrow further. Me always farm. True. Kemar nods. Yam. Yes. Banana. Yes. Callaloo. Yes. Kemar smiles. And herbs. Silence. A bird chirps. Clifton steps closer. Kemar. Yes, uncle. How much you know? About what? Clifton grabs his shirt. Don't play with me before breakfast. Kemar starts laughing. Easy. Easy. You tell anybody? No. Clifton stares at him. Kemar looks away. Kemar. Well, Clifton closes his eyes. How many? 1. Clifton opens his eyes. 1, maybe 2. Kemar. 3 maximum. Clifton grabs his head. Who? Dwayne. Clifton groans. Why Dwayne? Because him trustworthy. At that exact moment, Clifton's phone rings. He looks at the screen. Dwayne. Clifton slowly raises his eyes toward Kemar. Kemar smiles weakly. See? Him calling you direct. Clifton answers. What? Dwayne's voice is loud enough for Kemar to hear. Uncle Clifton. Me here, SEH farming business booming. Clifton hangs up. He looks at Kemar. Kemar starts backing away. Uncle, before you get vex. Clifton picks up the stick again. Kemar runs. Miss Pearl has a plan. At 8 o'clock, Miss Pearl arrives. She is carrying 3 bags. Clifton looks at them suspiciously. What in a dem? Protection. Protection from what? Brown. Clifton's face changes. He remembers. Officer Brown said he was coming back. Pearl opens the first bag. Tomatoes. The second. Callaloo. The third. Scotch bonnet peppers. Clifton stares. What me supposed to do with dem? Plant dem. Where? Pearl points toward the ganja field. Clifton looks at her. Then at the plants. Then back at Pearl. You want me plant tomato between dem? Yes. And when Brown see ganja between tomato? Pearl pauses. She had not considered that. Tell him it's companion planting. Clifton stares at her. Pearl continues confidently. People plant different crops together all the time. Pearl. Yes. You think Brown idiot? Pearl thinks. Sometimes. Clifton almost laughs. Almost. Then Pearl pulls something else from the bag. A wooden sign. Clifton reads it. Clifton's Organic Herb and Vegetable Farm. He looks at Pearl. Organic? Yes. Since when? Sound professional. Clifton shakes his head. This plan foolish. Pearl plants the sign anyway. Better than your plan. What was my plan? Panic. Clifton cannot argue with that. Officer Brown prepares. Down at the Content Gap police station, Officer Brown is preparing for an investigation. His colleague, Constable Grant, watches him lace his boots. Where you going? Clifton Place. Why? Brown stands. Something happening up there. What? I don't know. Grant nods slowly. So you investigating something you don't know? Brown looks at him. That's how investigation work. Grant accepts this. Brown picks up his cap. Yesterday, Miss Pearl Goat nearly killed me. Grant starts laughing. Brown points at him. It wasn't funny. Grant laughs harder. Brown leaves. 2 minutes later, Grant follows. Not because Brown requested backup. Grant simply wants to see the goat. The district finds out. Meanwhile, Clifton's secret is deteriorating rapidly. Dwayne tells his girlfriend. His girlfriend tells her sister. Her sister tells Miss Cynthia. Miss Cynthia tells nobody. She simply walks up the hill herself. At 8:32, Clifton sees her approaching. Morning. Clifton's stomach drops. Why everybody coming up here today? Miss Cynthia smiles. Come buy tomato. Clifton looks at Pearl. Pearl looks at the sign. The sign says Vegetable Farm. Clifton whispers. You see what you do? Pearl whispers back. Sell her tomato. Dem not even planted yet. Miss Cynthia reaches them. Morning, Clifton. Morning. She looks around. Where de tomato? Clifton points at the bag. Still in a bag. Cynthia frowns. Then why sign SEH Farm? Before Clifton can answer, another person appears. Then another. Then Dwayne. Then Kemar returns. Within 15 minutes, 7 people are standing on Clifton's hillside pretending they came to purchase vegetables that do not exist. Clifton looks around. What all are you doing here? Nobody answers. He points at Dwayne. You. Come support local agriculture. Clifton points at Kemar. You. Community development. Clifton points at Miss Cynthia. You. Tomato. Clifton throws his hands into the air. There is no tomato. Everybody becomes quiet. Pearl clears her throat. Yet, then a voice comes from below. Morning, everybody. The entire hillside freezes. Officer Brown. Kemar whispers. Police. Clifton whispers back. Me can see dat. Then another uniform appears. Constable Grant. Clifton's eyes widen. 2. Pearl whispers. Why him bring reinforcement? Clifton looks toward the field. Then toward the approaching officers. Then toward the 7 extremely guilty-looking villagers. Everybody behave normal. Immediately, everybody starts behaving unnaturally. Dwayne begins whistling. Miss Cynthia starts examining a mango leaf. Kemar grabs the hoe and starts digging furiously. Pearl picks up a tomato and pretends to inspect it. Clifton watches them. Stop behaving normal. Brown arrives. Officer Brown reaches the top. He stops. Looks around. 7 villagers. 1 hoe. 3 bags of vegetables. No vegetables growing anywhere. Brown's suspicion increases approximately 400%. Morning. Everybody responds at once. Morning, officer. Too loudly. Brown looks at Grant. Grant looks at Brown. Brown turns toward Clifton. Busy morning. Clifton nods. Business booming. Brown notices the sign. Clifton's Organic Herb and Vegetable Farm. Brown reads it twice. Herb. Clifton nods. Herb. What kind? Clifton's brain stops functioning. Pearl jumps in. Time. Brown turns toward her. Time. Yes. Where? Pearl looks around. There is no time. Coming. Brown raises an eyebrow. Coming. Seedling stage. Brown looks at the empty ground. Underground. Pearl says nothing. Grant turns away because he is trying not to laugh. Brown walks toward the hidden path. Clifton immediately follows. Brown stops. Clifton stops. Brown moves left. Clifton moves left. Brown moves right. Clifton moves right. Brown sighs. Mass Clifton. Yes! Yesterday Miss Pearl did the exact same thing. Clifton glances at Pearl. Pearl shrugs. Brown points. Move. Clifton doesn't. Mass Clifton. Clifton slowly steps aside. Brown takes 1 step toward the field. Then, bye. Everybody turns. Clifton's face falls. No. A white head appears above the fence. Winston. Pearl gasps. How I'm getting dead? Clifton looks at her. Your goat. Winston pushes through a gap in the chicken wire. Clifton's beautiful fence collapses. Not one section. The entire thing. Zinc crashes. Bamboo falls. Chicken wire rolls downhill. Winston bursts through like he has escaped from prison. And tied around his neck is something green. Very green. Very leafy. Everybody stares. Officer Brown squints. Clifton stops breathing. Winston trots toward them proudly. Brown bends down. He reaches toward the leaves. Clifton's eyes widen. This is it. Finished. Brown's fingers are inches away when Winston suddenly jerks backward, then runs. Brown lunges. Come here. Winston accelerates. Grant shouts. Brown, leave the goat. Brown does not leave the goat. Yesterday, Winston embarrassed him. Today is personal. Officer Brown runs. Winston runs faster. Kemar starts laughing. Dwayne starts laughing. Pearl starts shouting. Don't hurt me, goat. Clifton starts shouting something entirely different. Get whatever around him neck. And suddenly, everybody is chasing Winston. 2 police officers. 7 villagers. Mass Clifton. Miss Pearl. and one goat galloping down a Jamaican hillside with what might be extremely important evidence bouncing beneath his chin. Content Gap gets a show. At the bottom of the hill, Winston enters the main road. A taxi stops. Passengers lean through the windows. A schoolboy points. Look pon police at Chase Goat. 3 people take out phones. Officer Brown sees the phones. Put down dem phone. Nobody puts down anything. Winston turns left. Brown turns left. Grant turns left. Clifton tries to turn left. His slippers disagree. Clifton slides into a patch of grass. Pearl runs past him. Get up. You help me. Me catching Winston. Even Clifton cannot believe the betrayal. Winston races toward Miss Cynthia's yard. Miss Cynthia, somehow ahead of everybody despite being part of the original chase, opens her gate. Winston runs inside. Brown follows. Pearl follows. Grant follows. Kemar follows. Clifton finally arrives. He bends over, gasping. Inside the yard. Silence. Then Brown emerges. He is holding something. Clifton straightens. Brown walks toward him. Clifton prepares for the worst. Brown opens his hand. Callaloo. Clifton blinks. Callaloo. Brown looks annoyed. Callaloo. Behind him, Winston is eating from Miss Cynthia's garden. Miss Cynthia screams. Me callaloo. Pearl puts both hands on her hips. Winston. Winston looks up. Brown stares at Clifton. Clifton stares back. For one miraculous moment, Mass Clifton believes he has survived. Then Constable Grant appears. Brown. Brown turns. Grant is holding something else. A leaf. Not callaloo. Clifton's smile disappears. Grant studies it. Brown studies it. Pearl studies Brown. Kemar slowly begins backing away. Clifton looks toward the road. For the first time in 20 years, he seriously considers running. Brown raises his eyes. Mass Clifton. Clifton swallows. Yes, officer. Brown holds up the leaf. What exactly are you farming up there? Before Clifton can answer, Miss Cynthia screams again. Winston. Everybody turns. Winston has escaped. Again. Officer Brown closes his eyes. Clifton looks toward the heavens. Pearl grabs her broom. And Kemar? Kemar takes out his phone. Because whatever happens next, somebody in Canada is definitely going to hear about it. End of episode 2. Next, episode 3, D-Hole District No. Because Clifton's secret isn't really a secret anymore. Officer Brown has a suspicious leaf. Kemar has a phone. Dwayne has a big mouth. Miss Cynthia wants compensation for her callaloo. And Winston. Winston has discovered that fences are merely suggestions.